get off on the right track today. Or maybe it'll just help you recalibrate. Take your mind off all the stress that's going on around you. Come on, you ready? Let's go.
Living out loud, living out loud. Loving out loud, loving out loud. Laughing out loud, laughing out loud. I want the world to know that I'm blessed. Hey, oh, hey, yeah, hey, oh.
Thanks for coming on, guys. I'm really excited about this gospel songwriter Super Bowl. So I asked Vaughn to come in because Vaughn is extremely knowledgeable about music, about groups, about how gospel music has transitioned. So I was actually asking Vaughn earlier, I was hoping that his father could come on and join us, because his father traveled around the country, around the world, with groups and singers and bishops, and he knows this music back and forth. But you know, Vaughn said he's not up on the Zoom platform yet, so he's a little technologically challenged. So I couldn't have him on, but you know, Vaughn knows all the same stuff, so I'm glad that he was able to join us as well. Can you hear me at all? I can hear you a little bit, but it sounds like some noise sort of cutting you off. Say again, Vaughn? No, it still sounds like noise around. Okay, cool. So listen, so I just want to go through this again. Randy, I know exactly who you want to jump to, but you can't go there yet. Let me go through the process, dude. Gotta let me go through the process, all right?
Okay, go ahead.
So
go ahead.
I'm gonna share my screen with everyone so we can go through this. And I talked about it a little bit yesterday. So this is the Gospel Songwriter Super Bowl. Randy called me yesterday screaming at me right away, you can't put so-and-so against so-and-so. That don't even make no sense. But listen, we're at the round of 32. So we got 32 artists, songwriters that we are putting up against one another. And we want everyone to go in and vote on. Now, if you go to my Facebook page, if you're on my Facebook page watching, you'll see the link to go and make your votes. The round of 32 is made up of 4 brackets. Darren, did you have a chance to see the brackets?
Yeah, I actually voted. I got the email. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, probably yesterday. Yeah.
So I mean, I was highly intrigued, man. So I just went right in and voted.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. So listen, we're at the round of 32, 4 brackets, and everybody should be able to see it right now. But in bracket 1, now, I have my favorites already, but I try to be as fair as possible in how I put the names out and I just linked them together. And whoever goes against whoever, that's just the way it is. And
interesting bracketing, by the way.
Yeah. So I mean, I absolutely love Kirk Franklin. I love what he does. I love the way he approaches music, his messaging and everything. So he's in the first bracket. If I were to be honest, he would be my number 1 seed in this bracket, but I didn't put numbers next to anyone. It just is what it is. So you see Kirk Franklin against Tasha Cobbs. And listen, this might upset people, but I didn't see, I started getting results in. I don't see how anyone could choose Tasha Cobbs over Kirk Franklin. I mean, they may love her as an artist, but as far as songwriting goes, I just think Kirk Franklin is top notch, and there's very few people that could touch him for me. Then we got Travis Green, Donald Lawrence, Edwin Hawkins, CeCe Winans, Dietrich Haddon, Donnie McClurkin. That's the first bracket. Now, do you have any thoughts on this first bracket right here?
So I'm listening to you, what you said, as far as you don't see how people could vote over Kirk. They could prefer Tasha over Kirk.
Right.
And one of the things I'm learning as I look at the landscape of our culture, it's becoming very painfully clear that our skills of observance are not as developed or as sharp as they could be.
Okay.
So what do I mean by that? I don't know if individuals are paying attention to the key factor variable that's here, which is the word songwriter. And I think there's a tendency for individuals to look at it strictly from an artist standpoint of view, not recognizing that the two can be one and the same, but the two can also be separated.
Right.
So depending on what generation you're dealing with, they probably didn't pay close attention to the songwriter aspect. They probably just looked at the artist aspect. And then, you know, Kirk, even though he's still young, he's starting little by little, a little bit more to push the age envelope.
Absolutely.
In comparison to the younger one. Now, the interesting thing about him, he still manages to maintain his edge of being relevant. Okay.
Yes.
But he's not as young as he used to be. So I think what will happen is, without knowing who voted, I think what you're looking at is a propensity for individuals to look at Tasha from a generational artistic standpoint of your artist, as opposed to saying, okay, songwriter. And I agree with you, as far as this bracket is concerned, it's a no-brainer. You can't really, there's no comparison, okay?
Right. For me. And that's the thing. I don't want to disregard anyone's feelings.
Right.
But I sort of knew that was going to play into this when I set it up. Some people are just going to say, that's my favorite artist, I'm choosing them. You know, and I understand that. So, just a second. My auntie, Apostle Vanessa Livingston, is in the house. Thank you, auntie, for showing up, for coming in. Gloriana Griffith, thank you for showing up. Ian Christopher, Erica Sabrina, that's my baby. She's upstairs. She's watching. Who else we got in here? Jeannie Marie Pascal. So listen, people are coming in. Okay, so now I think I got it set up where I can see. Big man, Raven Williams, what up, my dude? Principal, how you doing, man? I'm sure I'm gonna mess this name up. Solange Calderon, thank you for showing up. So listen, Randy.
I too would have to pick Kirk Franklin.
Okay.
I think that he's, to me, been in the game. I don't know how long Tasha Harv been in the game, but he's been in the game for a little while. And you know, he just you know, he had the groups, he had the choir.
Right.
I mean, he's a fantastic writer.
Absolutely.
I just hope that people not looking at vocal wise.
Right.
Instead of songwriting. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know, because we know who will win there. So
I mean, if you're talking vocals, I mean,
it's a different story.
That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I like Kirk. I'm not gonna say I'm a fan of Kirk. I like him, but as for if you're talking about songwriting, I think I take him over Tasha.
Wow. Yeah. Listen, I'm a huge Kirk fan. I love the way he approaches music. I love the way he approaches production. It's just incredible. Hey, Dolores, how you doing? Jackie is watching. Okay, so we just talked about Kurt and Tasha.
Okay.
Another one that sort of caught me off guard was the results I was getting from the Donnie McClurkin and Dietrich Hatton matchup. Now, I want to ask you who you chose. But Donnie right now is really far ahead with Dietrich Hatton. And again, I think that sort of plays into the artist against songwriter thing, because Dietrich Hatton is an incredible songwriter.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, incredible. But and that's not to take anything away from Donnie. I just didn't think he would be that far ahead in this choice. You have any thoughts on these matchups, Andrea?
I think for me, Dietrich Hatton is a better writer for sure. But I don't think I've been paying attention. So
Okay.
I've been seeing there's a competition with the different songwriters, but I haven't been.
Right. So it's a total songwriter competition, gospel songwriter competition. We have 4 brackets. We're just at the first bracket here. But you see my screen, right? You see the different matchups: Kirk Franklin against Tasha Cobb.
Yeah.
Travis Green against Donald Lawrence.
Yes.
I mean, Donald Lawrence is a master dude, master songwriter.
Yes,
and
he
I
is.
believe he's slightly ahead of Travis Green right now. I'll look at my results in a moment. Edwin
Okay.
Hawkins, of course, anyone that's been in church for any amount of time knows about
He's
Edwin.
a dynamic writer, yes.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Again, C. Winans, and then Dietrich Hatton and Donnie McClurkin.
Donnie.
So
Yeah.
that's where we are with bracket number 1. We're gonna go to the next bracket. Let me try to keep up with people here. Barbara Smith is on. Thank you guys for checking in. Reg, that's my dude, man. Reg Alvarez, thank you for checking in, man. Hope you and Mo are well, staying safe. You know how much I love you guys, man. The girls would be crazy if they knew, go crazy if they knew that you were watching right now. Okay, so let me go back now. You guys have anything else to say about bracket 1?
But you didn't pick, you didn't say anything about Travis Green and Don Lawrence.
You don't see how anybody could choose Travis
Over Donald?
Uh-huh.
I mean, if they like him, yeah.
But
I think Donald.
I think Donald too, but again, so I wish we had a little wider variety, and I think as we go on, we'll get a wider variety of people checking in, because Travis is an incredible writer also. But Donald Lawrence has such a history and such a catalog that it's hard to choose Travis now. He's newer, and so maybe I could have broken this up into sort of a generational type thing. But for me, I mean, listen, I was born and raised. I grew up in the church, and Donald Lawrence has just had hits after hits after hits. He knows how to put choirs together. He knows how to create. Lyrically, he's incredible.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. So, okay, I'm going to go to the next bracket. Let's go back. That's bracket number 1. So now we're going to go to bracket number 2.
Oh boy, really? Okay.
Randy, I'm gonna start with you on this bracket. At the very, go ahead.
You know it's Andre.
That's right.
Andre is the GOAT of writing, man. I'm telling you, I told you that yesterday. He's the Michael Jordan of writing, producing, arranging, vocal arranging.
Yeah,
I mean, his music has touched so many in different ways. I mean, from not just in the gospel, but he did ragtime, he did jazz. I mean, his stuff is just unbelievable, man. I mean, I think that I wish that young people would really go back and listen to some of his stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, because like I said, you know, as a musician and listening to other musicians and stuff like that, you know, they don't really have a clue. I think sometimes when you listen to them. And I was telling you yesterday, even you, I was telling you, and you seem a little shocked.
I was.
About how dear Andre is.
So listen, I know how incredible he is, but what shocked me was the stories you were sharing with me. These are sort of the things I didn't know about how the band that played for him, how he came in contact with them. Steve, what's up, my dude? Good to see you, brother.
Oh, Thurston, what's going on, man?
Yeah, what's up, baby? How you doing, man?
I'm good. How's everybody doing?
Everybody's wonderful, man. So listen, I want you and Andrea to make sure y'all look at these brackets and make your choices, man. So right now, we're in bracket 2. We're talking about, if you see the screen, you see Andre Crouch is at the top. And everybody, Randy, everybody on the line is saying Andre Crouch, hands down.
Yeah.
But, okay, so this is what we talked about yesterday. When you called me yesterday, first thing you said is, you can't have Andre Crouch up against Marvin Winans. And that's exactly what somebody just said. Red said, but Marvin Winans led me back to Andre. I'm partial to Marvin, and the Winans are a gateway to gospel music. So there is a lot of people that, I mean, me, when the Winans first came out, bro, I was done. Listening to his music, the way he put things together, the way his lyrically, just incredible. I mean, even beyond the singing and the voice, lyrically, it was just unbelievable.
Yeah, Andre was, I mean, Marvin was, to me, a word writer. I mean, I mean, that man lived in the word, and he just took the word and just put it on paper and put music to it. I mean, he just really just set the bar.
Go ahead, Darren.
You know, when you think about Marvin and Andre, first I want to go back to Andre for a minute. Are we aware that Andre had a disability? Does everybody know that?
I did not know that.
No.
Andre was dyslexic.
Wow.
And
I did not know that, man.
He comprised his own system of learning how to play and recognizing the notes because he was dyslexic. And some kind of way, he came up with a system for the black keys, your F sharps, your A flats, your C sharps, E flats, et cetera, He came up with a system for that. And then he came up with another system for the white keys. And then that's how he began to develop as far as his playing is concerned. And then his father prayed for him, Bishop Benjamin Crouch. And when his father prayed for him, then the songwriting gift exploded. And so he was a teenager when he wrote The Blood. See, I don't think you realize, Thurston, I'm a music appreciation and historian myself.
I know you are. That's why I'm glad you're on here.
So he wrote The Blood as a teenager. And as a result, his father praying for him, and then he was able to transcend, just go beyond that gift to the extent that a lot of people don't realize that was his challenge. The other thing about Andre, now this is going to be heavy. This is going to be real heavy. When you survey certain ethnic cultures and groups, they will tell you that Andre to them is the father of praise and worship.
Wow.
Some of our older Caucasian brothers and sisters will tell you that Andre Crouch was the one that taught them praise and worship. Now, when you think about Andre Crouch, and in terms of how praise and worship has evolved and what we call it now, you would not look at him in that way. But however, you have to go back and you have to listen to his music, his early music, with a different ear, and you can see, especially the chant, hallelujah, hallelujah. I mean, that's just straight praise and worship. And right now,
if
you get into a jam and praise and worship, you pull that out and you be good.
Exactly. Right. So it's very interesting that you would say that, because Randy, when we were talking yesterday, I said, you were talking about Andre, and I said, guys, so if you're not talking, just mute your phone, and then when you get ready to talk, unmute. But Randy, when we were talking yesterday, you said, I said to you, wasn't Andre sort of shunned a little bit because of the type of music he was doing? Like, he wasn't doing just regular traditional gospel music of what everybody knew at the time. He sort of took influences from other places and integrated it into his production and the writing, and was sort of shunned. But you said the Caucasian church sort of embraced it at the time.
Yeah, because he was like the band, like I told you the story with his band Light. They was playing outside a mission house, just jamming. They wasn't saved. And Andre was inside this mission house doing a service. So he came out, he heard this band, he went over to them and began to witness to them, and they gave their life to Christ and became his band.
Wow.
So you talking about Bill Maxwell. I don't know if you know all these guys, but Bill Maxwell, the drummer, came on to be one of the big producers. He produced the Martin Show. He was his drummer. Harlan Hawkins Smith, a bad a guitar player, and then it just began to evolve. So he had like about 4 guys, and these guys traveled the world with Andre. Just out of that witnessing, they gave their life to Christ. But they was playing a lot of rock stuff.
Okay.
And as the black church, we kind of like shunned Andre. We didn't want to, because we had the regular gospel, and they were that wasn't gospel music, so they shunned it. And so as he began to evolve, it started getting more and more in part. So the first time I heard Andre, or have heard of Andre, my former pastor brought him to the church, and we was all young, and they came in with these drums, and they came in with dungarees with, holes all in them and stuff like that. They didn't have what their regular church, go to Sunday, go to meeting clothes. And then they started playing this music. And then they started doing songs like Through It All. And they started doing songs like, he did songs like Amazing Grace. Well, shall always be. And I'm sitting up there, man, looking at this guy, and I was floored. I just couldn't believe the drummer. He had his hands up in the air, worshiping God.
Wow.
And I never ever seen anything like this in my life. And I was just so floored. So I just went out and bought all the Andre Crouch. And I was hooked ever since. And I just began to follow his ministry, man. He would he had such an anointing, man, upon his life, man. It was just unreal.
That's incredible.
He was incredibly gifted, man. Randy, do you remember the Live in London album?
The one of the best.
He was just telling me about it yesterday.
So he did the opening song. He did this jazz run, man. And I have a cousin.
Remember that?
Now remember, Andre was not classically trained. He was not classic. When I say classically trained, I'm not just talking about classical music. I'm talking about the discipline of training.
Right.
Andre was not, because remember what I told you about his developmental challenge. And I had a cousin who was classically trained in jazz. My cousin had spent days learning that lick that opened up Live in London.
Wow.
He was classically, he spent days. If I could get him right now, he would tell you, it took him days to replicate that run. That's the kind of gift and ability that Andre Crouch had on him. It's just anointed. Outrageous, man. Outrageous.
No doubt about the anointing. So listen, this could very easily turn into the Andre Crouch show. So Randy, as you were talking, I could see Darren was just, he was just rocking on his chair like, man, I can't wait to get back in this. Can't wait to get back in. So Steve, are you familiar? Now you might not be as familiar with the music as Randy and Darren. I'm certainly not. I'm not. I grew up in the church, heard the music, sang the music, absolutely. But all of those intricacies that they're describing, I didn't know about. Were you familiar with any of that stuff regarding Andre Crouch?
No, sir.
Okay.
And I wanted to throw out a disclaimer that I'm a little younger, but not too much younger. So when I first got saved, I got saved in my teens, and at the time I got saved, commission was it for me.
Yes,
they were everything in terms of the style of music, the writing is what intrigued me the most, because they weren't just saying just ordinary things. They were, the writing was very deep to me. And the musicality. I'm a musician, so I enjoyed hearing the intricacy of the licks and the chord progressions. It was just different to me. Yeah. And Fred Hammond has always done it for me. I mean, even from the time where we were, my wife.
To show you the brackets, because we're talking about.
Oh, I'm gonna show. I'll put the brackets back up so you can see.
All right. So even from the first, I remember the first time I heard Fred Hammond sing "Running Back to You." I was blown away. That was it for me. Now I that was my introduction to gospel music when I first got into the church. But eventually I did hear about Andre Crouch, the Winans I would listen to from time to time. But in terms of the music having an impact, for me it was commission. All of them.
I got you.
Yeah.
Vaughn, how about you? Reg, I see your Reggie, I see your comment. I'm about to send you a link, dude.
Can you hear me good right now?
Yes, I hear you perfectly now, Vaughn.
Okay, I was starting to feel like Teddy Riley. Well, I think I told you before, as far as I'm concerned, Andre Crouch is the GOAT.
Yes.
There's nobody that's like him. You know, growing up in church, growing up in a Pentecostal church, but with a father who was a singer and a musician, and being around musicians, they idolized him.
Right.
They idolized him, and so I grew up listening to his music, and he was doing stuff that nobody else was even trying. And, you know, he was taking a lot of grief. But I heard Randy say something about it. He was getting a lot of grief. He took a lot of the grief that we would later see Kirk take. But
that's what I was
but he was a trailblazer. He was bringing in all different types of musical styles and playing with all different types of genres that nobody else could touch. You know, I do want to give a shout out to Brian Courtney Wilson, because I love him. I love the way he represents the kingdom. I love that his masculinity, and I love his songwriting. And he has one particular song that, when it came out, "Worth Fighting For," when that song initially came out, and I would hear it on the radio every day, I would be a mess in the car for like a half an hour after listening to it. So I gotta give him a shout out for that. But him going against Andre is impossible.
So this is the beauty of these brackets, is because, so think about March Madness, when you know you love Duke, but they may go up against North Carolina in the early rounds. You may love both teams, but somebody's got to lose, right?
Right.
So that's the beauty of this. So I'm the same way. Andre Crouch, I think, is incredible. I did not know him like you guys know him. But that's the beauty of this. So if this bracket comes down to Andre against Marvin Winans, people are gonna have a problem, dude.
Yeah, it's hard.
That's gonna be an issue. Because I mean, all of the who we have coming in. Oh yes. Come on in, Elder. Come on in, man. I'm glad you joining us. You're gonna pop up in a moment. But so when the Winans came out, I was fairly young, and my sister Wendy, she's watching now. Wendy, she had a collection of albums, and I would play the Winans over and over and over, and I was just blown away by what they were doing musically and lyrically. I mean, it was just incredible. And I remember, Randy, you telling me about them coming to Boys. Was that them, or that was them when they came to Boys and Girls High School, and Fred was playing bass for them, right?
Right.
Right.
Yep.
I remember you telling me that story, and how, again, you were just blown away by how they presented the gospel in music.
Yeah, it was at Boys and Girls. It was their first time in New York. And so the thing was, they got up real late. You know, anytime, you know, when you have a concert like that, they have 20 people on there. So they got up real late. But I mean, it was worth the wait, because at that time, it was like their first show in New York City. They had the whole family. BB was young, CC was young. I mean, everybody. And then all of a sudden, Marvin just started calling everybody out of the audience. And then he called Fred down. Before Fred was Fred, and he was just playing bass, and came down and put the bass on the side of him and took the mic, and then he destroyed it. I mean, it was like one of the best things, but like, it was like, if you look at the bar that was set between Andre, who, there was a story where his father, Andre had said that heard them sing one day and decided that Andre wanted to record him. That's when they came out with that Andre's Introducing the Winans, the very first album. But it took a long time before they came. So Marvin, father, took them to LA, drove them to LA. They walked into Andre's church. Andre, you know, introduced them, they sung. And the very first song, I heard Marvin say, he said, I got something for him. And he opened up with "Question Is." Oh, Jesus. And he said from that point on, it was a wrap. Done. It was a wrap when he did "Question Is." And they just signed on and went from there. So, and even people don't even know, like, and when you hear Donnie McClurkin, he's the same one that was said the same thing about Andre when he was a young kid, a young boy. He went to go to this church to hear Andre, and he waited until everybody left. His father, his mother was there, and Andre came out, and he wanted to meet Andre, and Andre laid his hands on him and asked God to anoint him for his service. Lord. And stuff like that. I mean, these are all different stories. I mean, that this guy had paved the way. I mean, that just set from like Andre to Marvin. Marvin set the way for Commission, Fred and Commission. And so it was just that way we set it up. So listen, as y'all see, all roads leads back to Andre Crouch for Randy, right? So if I bring up Kanye West, he's gonna find a way to connect him to Andre Crouch.
Can I quickly say that Andre also was part of the introduction of the Hawkins family as well.
I did not know that either.
Yes, because they were all in the Bay Area together.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And they used to exchange services in the Bay Area in the Church of God in Christ with one another. Okay, and LA and California is they have this uncanny way of unconditionally supporting one another no matter what.
That's right.
No matter what. Okay.
You're saying a lot right now, dude.
I know. Maybe I shouldn't.
No, say it. Say it, bro. Say it.
And here's the thing. I saw it for myself. They'll have beef with one another, but they'll go vegan to work with one another. You understand what I'm saying? They'll put that stuff to the side. I saw it, man. I saw it for myself. My brother brought up Commission, and it was amazing because Commission was this songwriting tandem of Fred, Michael Brooks, but also Park Stewart. Park Stewart, a name you don't hear a lot. Parks would partner with them and do his own writing, and Parks had a heart murmur. I mean, the guy was like so frail and so sick, but he had this uncanny writing gift, Thurston, that was birthed out of R&B. And so that would be the driving force behind a lot of what you heard with Commission, all right? And that's why their stuff was so different. And then when we think about the Winans, let's not, and Randy, you'll probably identify with this, let's not forget about the whole crossover debate that exploded, okay? When they came and it was this whole big thing about, oh, it was crossover music. But the reality is, and again, Andre blazed that trail, the Winans was reaching the unchurched.
Yes, absolutely.
Because of the I see my brother with his finger up. Go ahead, let me not monopolize. Go ahead.
Listen, first of all, I feel like I'm in a candy store.
Yeah, me too, man.
I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn. I'm excited. I think God led me here. What you just said in terms of reaching the unchurched, I was the unchurched that the Winans reached.
My God.
Part of my testimony is that I was listening to Midnight Storm. You guys remember Midnight Storm? Midnight Foreplay.
Quiet Storm?
Quiet Storm.
Quiet Storm.
Quiet Storm.
WBLS.
Right? WBLS. It was like 2 in the morning. I used to, you know us, we used to record music, right? On our cassette tapes, right? Just record all night. I would record music all night. I'd be up listening to slow jams so I could kick it to the girls, whatever. You know how we do. And 2 in the morning, I hear this song called Bring Back the Days of Yea and Nay.
Oh,
right.
In the middle of the quiet storm, in the middle of all this love music, this song comes on. I'm not saved.
Wow.
This song comes on, and I hear something that I'd never heard before in my whole life, right? I heard this beautiful song about Black culture, Black love, spiritual love. It wasn't between a man and a woman, but it was between humanity and God. And Black culture, all wrapped up in this song, in this 5-minute piece from a group I never heard of.
Right.
Just like Randy shared, I went and bought all their stuff. I was not saved. Mind you, I wasn't saved.
Right.
I was in the realm of Rakim. Nas. And the reason why I bring them up, because it's important to know how they influenced hip hop.
Amen.
Yeah.
The Winans also, you're right when you say they reached the unchurched, but they also, because, and you saw it in my, and I'm trying to be real quick. It's like a testimony in terms of what you guys are talking about and how it's impacted someone who didn't have all this history that you guys are sharing.
Amen.
Right? I came in on the heels of the Winans, but also on the heels of their writing. Their writing, they were lyricists first.
Yes.
That's what intrigues the world is, can you relate to where I'm at? And not only did they relate, but they tapped places and people that they were scared to express.
Right.
Exactly.
And also educated them about God. Like me, I got a full education about God, about Jesus Christ, through the Winans. They are instrumental for me first kind of opening up spiritually and then receiving God later on in my life. Yeah. All their music was a message, was like preaching, was like a word.
Right.
Like services.
Exactly.
So I wanted to share that. And of course, so I don't know how, I might be a little younger than Andre. I'm not sure. Maybe a little older, because I came in because right after the Winans was Commission, right? Fred Hammond, all of them were birthed out of that. And when you talk about the R&B sound, even when I think, if I'm right, Sean Stockman even wrote one of their albums, or helped write pen one of their albums.
I think that was later on, right?
That was later on.
Yeah.
Right? After Marvin Sapp, I think, had left.
Right.
So you can hear they had that R&B appeal.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, but I'm just excited just to learn all the things, because again, I learned about Andre, and you know, me and Vaughn used to exchange music all the time. I learned a lot about Andre just following. Like, I wanted to know whether Winans got a sound that I never heard, and that was very unique in that time period. Also, nobody else sound like the Winans.
Right. No.
There was a lot of great ministries out there, a lot of great singers, a lot of great gospel artists, but nobody sounded like the Winans.
Right.
Know? So that's all I wanted to share, really.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Vaughn, you want to chime in anything?
You guys pretty much covered it there. We're dealing with Marvin and Kira, right? It was covered.
This really is like a history lesson, guys. It really is. I see Everett Collins is watching. Mr. C, listen, I love you, man. We've never really shared this story personally, but you really were instrumental in saving my life. And I'm sure that I'm gonna get you on camera at one time so we can talk about it. How you pulled me out at a critical time in my life. He showed me love, brought me into a group, and he really recognized my my ability at the time. And so, Mr. C, I love you, man, and I hope to get a chance to speak directly with you on the show soon. All right, so just as a way of keeping it moving, everybody, please stay around. Don't nobody leave. I'm going to share my screen one more time. And of course, we know Andre. I mean, we could almost put him in the finals already, but I'm gonna go back. That was bracket 2. All right, we're going to bracket number 3. Again, this is someone that I absolutely love their writing. Israel Horton. He just has an approach to music, an approach to lyrics, production that I just think is incredible. Here's Israel Horton against BB Winans. BB, I'm sorry to have to do it to you, man. You know I love BB Winans. He is part of the family with us at CCC. But again, Israel Horton, he's one of the best writers, producers, in my opinion. And you guys may have a different opinion. Then you got William Murphy and Thomas Dorsey. So when you talk about Thomas Dorsey, you're going to have somebody that has a history in gospel music to really understand what he's done and what he's written and how he affected the culture. You go over to Ty Tribbett and Twinkie Clark. Now, I think Ty is sort of getting done dirty on this one because the Clark Sisters movie just showed, just aired. Everybody watched it. Everybody loves the Clark Sisters. So I'm gonna go ahead and start some trouble right here. You know, I'm Church of God in Christ through and through. Those girls were incredible. You know, I think we got the best vocalists, the best choirs ever. That's just how Church of God in Christ rolls. Other people may feel differently, but that's how I feel. So just quickly, I'm gonna share this. I'm watching different services today, and I see Bishop Frank Anthony White. He's just sitting at the keyboards. He's playing. It sounds beautiful. He's singing a little bit. And it took me back because that's where I grew up. I grew up in Zion. I was in that place when he was this incredible songwriter, choir director, and really, really had an incredible impact on my life in the way that I appreciate music and the way that I approach my relationship with Christ. So hearing him, so he's a bishop now. He travels the world. He's world renowned, and he preaches primarily. But I so love his music. When I hear him just sit at the keyboard and play, it really affects me in a tremendous way. So shout out to Bishop Frank Anthony White. I loved listening to you this morning. I hope that you will do it some more. And I know he just went back into the studio. He has some more music coming out or just came out. So looking out for that. So back to the bracket. Any thoughts on this bracket? Ty Tribbett, Twinkie Clark, James Cleveland against Walter Hawkins. That's going to be a problem as well.
Well, this is probably the most unfair bracket you have, my brother. This bracket was extremely unfair, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when you look at Walter, so now we go back, when we talk about the discussion as far as the word and songwriting, Walter Hawkins had an uncanny ability to include the word in his songwriting. He took it to a different level than his brother Edwin. And Edwin had no problem acknowledging it. Edwin was not intimidated by his younger brother. So for me, it's kind of hands down with that bracket. It's got to be Walter Hawkins. Okay?
Wow. Even over Israel Horton.
Well, no, I'm just dealing with the coupling.
Just that too. Okay, I got you.
Like I said, this was an unfair bracket, bro. When I look at BB, see, here's the thing with me for BB. BB's songwriting ability transcends gospel music.
It does, absolutely.
Okay?
Yes.
And so, and don't get me wrong, Israel is phenomenal. But I just stumbled on 2 weeks ago listening to Watercolors, and as much as I knew how much secular work BB did, I didn't know BB did a lead vocal session for Dave Koz. So that just kind of like elevated my appreciation for him, you know, on a different level. And his writing was very, very unique. The story is told that Marvin used to pick at him with his writing when they were growing up, and BB would bring his songs. And Marvin used to kind of ridicule him. Well, he's not ridiculing him anymore. You know, BB is phenomenal. So I kind of got to give the edge to BB on that one.
Ooh! Wow!
Yeah.
Wow!
Yeah, and probably because it might be generational too. I will concede that. Okay.
Wow!
And I said edge. Notice edge. I mean, it's very, very difficult, but I gotta give the edge to BB because BB's. When we talk about BB and CeCe as a group, the songs they would do, Addictive Love, man. In the Meantime. I mean, you talking about songs that had some incredible meaning. And for me, the Winans was able to tap into the unspoken things that those of us in the young people in the church didn't have space to articulate, but that we were dealing with, okay? Then when I look at I'm gonna do the Ty Tribbett Twinkie bracket last. When I look at Thomas Dorsey and William Murphy, again, it's kind of like unfair because you're looking at two trailblazers coming from two different generations. And they both hold their ground differently. But I got to give the edge to Thomas Dorsey, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Thomas Dorsey is basically the father of what we call modern contemporary gospel music, or gospel music within our culture. Here's the reality for it. Bill Clinton is reported one time that he made a special request to hear Precious Lord Take My Hand at a funeral that he had to attend. And so Thomas Dorsey was vilified for that song when it first came out.
Wow.
Vilified. He was vilified by the church as having crossed over, sold out. It was too R&B-ish. It was too this, it was too that. And the reason why Thomas Dorsey wrote Precious Lord, because his wife died giving birth to their stillborn daughter, the only child he ever had. And he sat down and he penned that song out of that pain. So I got to give him the edge where that's concerned. Now, Twinkie and Ty Tribbett, another unfair bracket, my brother.
I know, man.
You kind of owe us. You owe us on this one, brother. You owe us. And Ty is phenomenal, man. I mean,
yes,
Ty,
he is.
He's just a musical genius. Okay, but I got to give the edge to Twinkie. And the reason why I got to give the edge to Twinkie is because Twinkie's musicality, her writing style, the way she approaches vocals, and the reach that the Clark sisters have had, which now has become evident through the Lifetime movie, it's just been unbelievable. So that's my
I totally agree. Totally agree. Anyone else? Y'all chime in. Who else wants to chime in on this bracket?
Well, I'll say for the Israel Houghton BB Winans, that's a tough one. I'm going to give the edge to Israel. Because, and the reason why I believe the brackets are unfair is because each of them, they also covered arenas for a certain amount of time that no other singer or group was covering. Like you said, BB and CeCe Winans ministered to a certain genre of people in that span of time that they were out, and then BB branching out and CeCe branching out. Israel did something definitely new in terms of bringing cultures together.
Right.
With his music, in terms of bringing the black and white culture together in a very unique way that didn't lose any of its essence. In terms of musicality, in terms of culture, in terms of soul. You know, he did it in a way that I was like, wow, you know, something that we always wanted to, you know, like I hate the fact that we have two different genres when it comes back. You know, we have gospel music, and gospel is referred to as black music. We have Christian contemporary music.
Yes,
he brought those worlds together seamlessly.
Right.
And I think that's why I would give the edge to him only in that realm, because he did something so uniquely powerful and different and necessary when he came out.
And so now going back to BB and CeCe Winans. So I'm sure somebody remembers it. I lose the name of it. The show that they were on.
PTL.
They were PTL show.
PTL.
Okay, PTL. Yeah. So they come from that, and they're doing all of these songs, Addictive Love and I'm Lost Without You and all of this stuff. So there were stories of people going to their concerts thinking they're going to an R&B concert. They're thinking that this is a couple singing to one another, and they get to the concert and they're singing gospel songs to them. So they had a tremendous impact on the culture, even outside of the church. So that always fascinated me. And that goes into the style of writing, being very intentional about the words that you use, where it doesn't offend your faith, but it also brings other people in to listen to what's going on, to what's being said. That always fascinated me.
It invites controversy.
Absolutely. So, and that's enough. So if y'all hear what we're saying, there is a type of, there's something that's strung through this conversation that we're having, because anytime we mention someone that was sort of a pioneer of a type of music or brought something different in, what I'm hearing is, you know, the church sort of shunned them for a while, and then they got a chance to come back, right? That's something that we should probably keep in mind as a church, as followers of Christ, understanding that God can use anything to reach whoever he wants to reach. And instead of us sort of shunning people, we should take some time to really look at what's going on and understand where people are coming from. That does not mean you dismiss your faith and you dismiss the word of God. Absolutely not. But just imagine if we had sort of tossed these people away, and a lot of people we toss out doesn't come back, because if the world embraces them, they'll say, I'll just stay out here and do my music over here. So that's important to think about. Vaughn?
Yeah, well, I agree with Reg as far as Israel. BB is, I've always considered him mostly a vocalist, although he did write some great songs for when he and CeCe were together.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, the song that I sang to Adrian as she walked down the aisle, I Owe You Me. BB wrote that, right?
Nice.
Twinkie Clark over Ty, you know, because, you know, what was it? She's done Jesus is a Love Song, Expect a Miracle. Those are all classics.
Of course.
Ty,
Plus she's
no
coached.
Ty songs, we can't call any of Ty's songs classics as yet.
Right,
you know?
Right.
William Murphy, you know, sort of got mistreated by going against Thomas Dorsey. Because how can you go against Precious Lord and Peace in the Valley?
Right.
You that's unclear. And I refuse to vote in James Cleveland and Walter Hawkins. There's no way to vote on that.
You listen. So you gotta choose, man.
We're talking about the Godfather of gospel against the man that created the Love Alive album.
Yes,
it's not
yes,
fair.
yes. That's what we're talking about. All right, so hold on. Take a pause, guys. Risco, thank you for joining us. Everett, much love, man. I see the heart. Sabrina Lamore, James Acevedo, let's see, Gregory Ross. I just want to acknowledge everybody that came to spend some time with us. Mahaley Hayes, Robin Miller. So Ty definitely got done dirty. Just me personally, I can't go against Twinkie Clark. She's incredible. She's Kojic. Clark sisters just set a standard for singing that was just incredible. So he definitely got done dirty because I love Ty's music. I love his energy. I love the way he presents the gospel to a new generation of people, and still keeps a lot of the sort of traditional feel that you get in church, right? So he's not afraid to shout and dance and all of that, but the type of music that he presents, the production. So, and I don't know if any of you guys know the story, but I believe he was playing with a band that was playing for a secular artist before he launched into, and not saying he wasn't saved, but before he launched his career as a gospel artist, I believe. So if someone listening, if you have that story, please share it with us about Ty's background. But he definitely gets done dirty. I don't think he makes it out of this bracket. And so I'm gonna go to the last bracket, but Randy, I'm gonna start with you on this last bracket because now I want to talk about, as you look at all the people that we have here in the Super Bowl, think about the people that's not here. So I know how much you love William McDowell. Love him. He didn't make the list. And I'm gonna be transparent. I forgot to add him to this list. Another couple of people that are not there, and you may not, I don't know how much of songwriters they were, but Mary, were they songwriters? Because if they were, they should be on the list as well.
It was actually the husbands, the producers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Warren wrote most of their stuff.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So Randy, I'm starting with you for this. You got John P. Key, Vashawn Mitchell, Anita Wilson, Timothy Wright, Hezekiah Walker, and one of my all-time favorites, Fred Hammond, Yolanda Adams, Richard Smallwood. I'm not sure how much Yolanda wrote either, but she made the list. So take it away, guys. What do you think, Randy?
First of all, I don't know how you even come up with these lists. I mean, how do you put people together? You draw them out of a hat?
That's it. Whoever you get, man. That's it.
Man. First, if anything, I got to go with John P. Key.
Of course.
I grew up with Timothy Wright, but Timothy Wright, his writing was.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
To me, I look at songs that have depth.
Right.
I'm not looking at a song because you sing a verse and then you modulate 15 times. That's not writing a song. Anybody can do that.
Who are we talking about in particular, Randy?
If you're going to go with anybody, then you're going to jump over to the right side. Hezekiah walking in front of him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, of course, that's his style of music. Hezekiah is going to get you all up and it's going to get you going and it's pumping. But if you look at it, you got one verse and then, it's pumping like around about 15 modulations. There's nothing to that. It just makes you feel good. And at the end of the day, it's it. To me, having people that have good songwriting, have people that really just not just your heart, but touch your soul, that give you something to think about, something that you can eat off of. For me, Anita Wilson is a great songwriter. She had written some really nice songs. Matter of fact, y'all should check out her new CD she got out called Dance Soul.
Okay.
It's all house music.
Really?
Yes, she took her music, she took up some of her songs, and she put a house beat to them.
Yeah, Yolanda Adams is on one of them. Is one of the tracks.
Yeah, right. So you need to check that out. And then as far as Richard Smallwood, I don't know if Yolanda Adams wrote songs.
Right.
So Richard Smallwood would have that hands down. Fred Hammond over Hezekiah. I said John P. Key over Vashawn Mitchell, and Anita Wilson over Timothy Wright. All
right, what else, guys? Who else wants to chime in?
Definitely Fred over Hez. He's an in-depth writer. Definitely Richard Smallwood over
Yolanda, of course.
Yolanda, because I think Ben Tankard wrote a lot of her songs.
Okay.
And if I was looking at John P. Key and Vashawn Mitchell, I like John P. Key because he's older. That I don't know. He's been around longer. That's kind of hard.
It's crazy.
Mitchell's a great writer, huh?
John P. Key's catalog is crazy.
Yes.
We were singing his songs every single Sunday in every Black church in America for a decade. Like he was just putting it out. It's just incredible. And again, I love Vashawn Mitchell as well. I think he's incredible.
Yeah, but I just think because John P. Key's a trailblazer. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and John P. Key, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying about John P. Key because he not only had that real church feel to it, but he also incorporated R&B sounds into the real church sound, and there was just a great mesh that he did.
Yeah. So when they come on tonight, listen to John P. Key's music. There is sort of this syncopation to his music where he just sort of rides the beat, and it's gospel music. But the way he rides the beat in his verses and his choruses, the way he has his backgrounds coming in, it was just incredible.
Bananas. It was. I sang a lot of his stuff.
It was absolutely incredible. So everybody loved to sing his songs. You go to a choir concert and it's basically a John P. Key concert because everybody's singing all of his songs. And then you're mad if the choir before you sing the song you had planned on singing before you got there. So it's, that's what I think about this one. Reg, what do you think, man?
Man, I think the better challenge would have been John P. Key and Richard Smallwood.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because Richard Smallwood, he introduced a generation to classical music.
Yes,
most definitely.
Like his writing. Again, I was new. I was still a newborn Christian when I ran into Richard Smallwood, and he took my breath away. Just the classical music, and like you said about John P. Key's catalog, like you said, is bananas. Even to this day, still writing, still producing, still putting stuff out. So I think that would have been the better challenge. I think I think you said it earlier when I first jumped on. It would have been cool to see better placement, I guess, with people in their own generation. That would have been more tougher.
Yeah. But I think placement like this makes it a little more interesting because people are going to be frustrated.
Yeah.
And so I took the bracket down, but let me know if y'all need me to put it back up as we're talking. But you're right. And this bracket may actually come down to those two against one another. It may come down to John P. Key, John P. Key against Richard Smallwood. And who else is in there? That's Fred Hammond. I mean, can I vote against Fred Hammond? I don't know if I can vote
against
can't.
Richard Smallwood.
I don't know if I can vote against Fred Hammond, dude.
You vote against anyone, Lord Jesus.
Lord have mercy. So listen, guys, we've been on this for a long time. Darren and Randy, thanks for the history lesson, man. I appreciate it. I hope that you guys will come back again for the next round. To everyone that's watching, everyone that's listening later, go to my Facebook page, Thurston Daniel O'Neill, find the link and vote in the survey for who you think is the best. I'll probably share some comments on my page from the people that were watching. But again, if you guys have any last words before we cut this short.
I want to say something about Timothy Wright.
Okay.
And you kind of sparked this in me, Thurston, with the Kojic connection because I was born and raised in Kojic too.
Okay.
Even though I'm no longer, quote unquote, affiliated. But
once Kojic, you always Kojic.
Yeah.
It don't matter where you go, dude.
It's in your blood. What I tell people is my ecclesiastical roots are in a classical traditional Pentecostal experience.
Nice. I like it. I love it.
That's what I tell them in this Kojic. But the thing about Timothy Wright, when I think about Timothy, I think about this phrase, there's a brilliance in brevity. There's a brilliance in brevity. And the thing about Timothy filled a need that presented itself. And so those of us who were born and raised in Kojic, we know about the convocations. We know about the jurisdictional meetings. And, and music, as Thurston said, was a very, very critically essential part of the Kojic experience. I mean,
no doubt.
You couldn't have Kojic Church without music. And the musicians was the best. I mean, that's just the cold, hard reality. And so we would come together for these convocations. Somebody would have to pull a choir together quick and be able to take all these voices from all these different churches and blend them quickly. And Timothy developed this ability to write these one-liners. And yes, Randy, I agree with you. They were one-liners, okay. But listen, here's what happened. These one-liners filled the moment to bring a group of people together from so many different backgrounds and get them to present something to give the musical experience and the convocation of the jurisdictions the depth that it needed. And he mastered that thing. And so, you know, sometimes I wonder if he was put in a different musical situation, would he have done differently, or did he just excel in those one-liners? And you know, because Timothy, when you talk with people who work with him, they would tell you he had this incredible musical gifting, and the proof is in the pudding. Now his sons are dispersed throughout the music industry, not in gospel, but in secular. Okay, and that's a whole nother discussion, man.
When you're in a service and Timothy Wright and that choir gets up to sing, you know you're gonna be standing on your feet. He wasn't the deepest writer, like you said.
Right.
The impact of his songs, man. So if you're in the building, you sitting on those hard wooden pews, because ain't nobody have those soft seats back in the day. So you're sitting on these hard wooden pews, and that choir gets up and starts singing. This is what Kojic choirs were known for. We sing hard, we sing loud, we got those harmonies tight, right? That choir starts singing, you're gonna be up on your feet, you're gonna be praising God. That's just how it was. So that's why he made the list. I mean, for me, because I know him from my upbringing, I know the impact that his music had. Like you said, going to those conversations, the meetings at Washington Temple, come on, man, come on. And they get up there and sing. It was just incredible. So that's why he made the list. So go ahead, guys. Sign off, guys. Sign off.
All right, guys. Enjoy.
All right. God bless.
God bless everybody.
Love you guys. Thanks for showing up, man.